Hi, this is Marcel of Marcel on Tech, and today we're talking about OnePlus's latest flagship, the OnePlus 11. Is it all as cracked up to be? Are they never settling and providing you with the best quality phones that they can at the best quality prices? Well, let's find out. Right, so we are into it. So this is the OnePlus 11, not Pro. Luckily, they've got rid of the Pro moniker or anything like that. This is just their flagship device that they are looking to promote as the best that they have, which is absolutely fantastic. And I'm very pleased, actually, I have to say, right off the bat, and I don't want to waste anyone's time, this is a good device. This is like a B+ device that I would recommend to anyone who wants a reliable, fantastic screen that is, and I would say the strongest feature is speed. Okay, so if you are kind enough to stick around and obviously find out a little bit more about my insights as to why I recommend this, then please do stick around for that. If you're leaving, then just hit the thumb icon with a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe on your way out. But if you're more interested in the tech like I am, then let's get straight into it. All right, cool. So the thing that I have been most impressed with this is the speed. The Snapdragon Gen 2 or Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 has been the quickest chip I think I've ever used on a phone. Everything is super snappy. Even installation was quicker than anything I've used. Even with comparing it to something like the Galaxy Fold 4, this is just so quick. But of course, this is the latest generation Snapdragon engine, so the CPU is the top of the range market at the moment. Now, for the price point, I paid $849 for this in euros. That's pretty good. I would say that is a good price. This is not a flagship. This is not a mid-ranger. This is a flagship device. So it is very good value for money, and that CPU is quick. So where that translates into usage, real-time usage, Face ID. So if we turn it, it's already unlocked. It is incredibly quick. If I lock it again, I'm going to actually just do the raise to wake and do the Face ID, and it's done it even before I've pushed the button. It's obviously scanning my face when I push the button, and it's already unlocked. Now that I felt was almost unreliable. It was so quick that I thought, oh, okay, maybe it's just not recognizing my face, but I've tested it on a few other people and it doesn't unlock for them. I've tested it on a picture of me and it didn't unlock either. So it works really well. I've been quite impressed by how quick the face unlock is. It also has a fingerprint reader. So you can see here that it'll come up with the fingerprint indicator there. And that has actually been very good as well. Super duper quick. I'll show you that again. Quick as a flash. This is as quick as any device that I've used, so it has been very impressive as a result, and that is obviously down to both the fingerprint reader and potentially the CPU as well. Now, in terms of in-the-hand feel, I have to say I'm not a huge fan of the candy bar design so much anymore because I'm developing into the fold phones. I have to say I'm falling slowly but surely for a fold device, and coming soon, hopefully one will be very exciting. But this is very much something that separates people, and that is the camera hump on the back. It is very unique. It's very well engineered, I would say, and actually requires more than one look at it in order to really appreciate how much detail has gone into it. So don't underestimate just how pretty that is, or how impressive, and how well engineered it is as well. It definitely feels quality. It's obviously Gorilla Glass on the back and the front, but it is slippery in the hand. It's glass, there's no two ways about it, but it is also very thin and very light. So the features, you know, in terms of the design, you've got the volume rocker on the one side, you also have the power button on the other, but the unique feature of this is always going to be the volume rocker here. So we've got ring at the bottom, in the middle we've got vibration only, and sliding all the way to the top we've got silent mode there as well. Okay, so that indicates there, and it is very handy. I have to say, once you get used to it, I tend to keep it on vibrate, but actually just switching it over to ringer is very handy, because sometimes I forget and I actually want the ringtone on, and it is really good. So I've been very pleased to have that rocker there, and it's finally back in town as well, because they did actually get rid of it, which was very daft. Now, the screen quality on this device has been very impressive. It comes out the box by default with 1080p, but you can you can ramp that up in the settings all the way up to WQHD, which is really cool. It's very crispy. I've got it on dark mode at the moment, which is how I like it. But when you switch it on over to normal mode, or light mode, day mode, should we say, then it's very bright, very crisp. They come with really nice wallpapers, actually, that are animated and moving, which are actually very attractive and very good. So they've done really well with the software side of things. Not perfect. It is running on Android 13, and of course it is their own version of this operating device, but it is not perfect. It is something that you kind of have to get a little bit used to, and there are some, I think it's a translation issue in that, of course, with the Chinese original software, you can get a lot more text in a space, whereas in English, there are some words that have been cut off or got ... after them, and that's a little bit on the weak side. I've only actually found that on this device, which is weird. But of course, OxygenOS here is the software, and it's 13, and it is a good operating system. So it's definitely something that I think is acceptable. And there are some quirks to it too, like the notification shade is different to other Androids, in particular when swiping away. Now, in terms of the cameras, so we're going to have some more examples of the cameras and their usage, but of course, we know about the partnership with Hasselblad. Has it made a huge difference to the cameras? Well, I have to say, I do like the color scheme that they have involved. I do find that it's very saturated. It's a bit like Samsung's and how they used to be. I quite like a saturated image, so I'm okay with that, but of course you can tone that down, both in the live settings as well as obviously after you've taken the photo. The pictures are very good. I wouldn't say excellent, but they are very, very good. And if we talk about what the cameras are, then we've got a 50 megapixel camera, a 48 megapixel camera, and a 32 megapixel camera wide angle as well. And we've also got a 16 megapixel forward-facing camera as well. So one potentially useful feature of the OnePlus 11 is the fact that you can use both cameras at the same time. So obviously if you're vlogging and blogging, you can have yourself featured in the top left-hand corner whilst filming what is ahead of you. Smart, powerful feature. Let's see if we can put some use to it. So when you do take the odd selfie here and there in the corner, it's going to come out pretty good. So it's not something that we are breaking any massive ground with, but it's pretty good. And you can film in 8K as well, because of course the CPU can handle that. I can't give you any genuine examples here because it can't handle it on YouTube, but it's a very, very powerful camera nonetheless that I think the average user who is getting good value for money from this device is going to get more than enough quality out of it from the 4K or even 1080p. But if you're looking to ramp it up and be a little bit more techie, then this might be something you want to go for as well. Now, as an original OnePlus investor, I actually got involved with the OnePlus One. I actually loved the OnePlus One, and I went on the waiting list, and I had to wait for the voucher, and I had to receive a code in order to order it. And I was a massive fan of that device. It was unique, it was a flagship device, but the price was so compelling. It was probably about £200. I was in the UK at the time. It's about £200 cheaper than it was anywhere else. So really absolutely loved it. And of course that was run by Carl Pei, who is now with the Nothing Company. But it was a really revolutionary flagship device that you didn't have to pay a flagship price for. So this is now owned, as we know, by BBK, which is the big phone manufacturer that owns Oppo as well. So of course there's been some dilution and quality has changed, and obviously it's not so much anymore about being a flagship killer and all that kind of stuff, but it does still maintain the branding of never settle, which is okay. So it's in terms of the image, it's not been amazing, but you know, they are what they are, and I have to say I do like the design and the layout, and OxygenOS still has some very useful software tweaks as well, and the build quality is very, very good. Let's talk about some of the things that are not so good. Now, I never complain about getting a free screen protector on the device. Usually when they come from the OEM, they're actually quite good. But it would appear that from the Chinese companies like this one, they're a bit rubbish. And actually, this one is quite annoying in the sense that when you have it up to your face, it can be a bit scratchy. Or when you're looking to get palm rejection, or you're holding the phone like so, you actually scratch it with the side of your hand. And I've rarely had a screen protector where it feels like it's scratching my finger on the side of the phone. And I also get stuff caught under there, like dust and so on, which usually only happens when it's starting to get too old. This is a brand new device. So I don't really understand why it's not very good. I would take it off, but I'm not going to, and replace it. So it's a shame that it's like that, but it's a good thing that it's there because it's always useful. Now, as I mentioned already before, the software glitches do exist. They're a little bit weird and odd, but it's, as I say, mostly because I think there's been a lot of conversion from the Chinese version into English, and the English obviously is not perhaps prioritized or made compatible. So there are certain things that don't complete or finish well in the text terminology. There's even a widget here that actually, it's got a private information, but there's a widget here that doesn't show the same as it does on every other Android. So there are some aspects of it missing, which is very, very weird. But at the same time, the software is usable for sure. It's very animated, it's very a little bit in the way of cartoonish, which is classically Chinese, but it's not the end of the world, and it's something that you definitely get used to as well, and it becomes something that you get familiar with as well. Now, sadly, in the box, even though this box is pretty sizable, what you don't get is a cover case, and sometimes you come with a clear case, sometimes they're good, sometimes they're not, but it's always a bonus. right up until you order one for yourself. But this one didn't come in the box. But what did come in the box is an absolutely enormous 100-watt charging brick. Now, this is something that you will only get in Europe. The United States only get 85 for regulatory reasons, but this charges this device up very, very quickly. I managed to charge this device up fully in about 36 minutes from flat, which is great and really, really, really handy. But interestingly, I have another fast charging device at home with a high capacity cable as well. But it wouldn't do SUPERVOOC. So there must be some form of controlled software within this, a chip to control whether or not it goes SUPERVOOC. So unless you're using this, you might not get the SUPERVOOC charging capabilities, which is interesting, and a little bit of a downside, as I say, as well. So that comes in the box. So of course, wherever you've got this and the cable, you're going to get very quick charging. But if you've got another powerful charger elsewhere, I kept this at work. If you've got another charger, then it might not be compatible and you might not get the same charging. And the other downside, of course, is that you get no wireless charging. There is no wireless charging on this device. Do we know why? Not really. It doesn't make a huge amount of sense, but they had to make cost cutting somewhere, and they did that through the wireless charging, because there are features on here that are very, very quick. The super fast chip, the excellent screen, really fantastic screen, the very good, not excellent, but very good cameras, and of course, they have to pay off the massive payment for the Hasselblad relationship as well. So it's good value for money, not amazing, but good value. And it is a very good phone with some little drawbacks, but it is a flagship device in terms of the materials they've used and the design. And there's just a few nuances that are missing, but I would highly recommend this device. Thank you so much for watching the video. I hope you got some real value out of it. If you're considering buying a OnePlus, then obviously put a comment below, let me know what you think. If you're an old school fan of OnePlus, let me know your thoughts. As I said, I was an original adopter as well. So I used to use them, be a big fan, and came away from them after the OnePlus X. Because they just became too corporate and it was very boring. But this was an interesting device, and I have to say I do like it an awful lot. It does feel very, very good in the hand. There is, of course, a sandstone black version, or semi-sandstone version, and this is the eternal green version, which I have to say is very, very nice. But it is also a fingerprint magnet, so you're definitely going to get fingerprints all over it. But otherwise, solid device. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you like and subscribe. Share this with anyone who you think this might enjoy the video. And I'll see you very, very soon in my next one, which will hopefully be just within a week's time. Bye-bye for now.